The storm did not come with thunder. It came with silence. The sea grew unnaturally still, the horizon tightening like a held breath. When the yacht finally capsized, it happened in seconds. Glass exploded. Metal screamed. And somewhere beneath the black water, a young man fought for his last breath. Aisha Khan was not supposed to be on that rescue boat. Her shift at the coastal clinic had ended an hour earlier, and she was already halfway home. But when the distress call crackled through the emergency radio, she turned back without thinking. Another boat had gone down near the reef. Tourists, the guard said. Possibly a child. Aisha did not ask for names. She only grabbed her medical bag and ran. By the time they reached the wreck, waves were tearing the ocean apart. Debris floated like broken memories across the water. Then she saw him. A hand broke the surface for half a second before disappearing again. The boat slowed, and Aisha dove before anyone could stop her. She found him tangled in ropes beneath the shattered deck. His body had gone limp. His lips were blue. With one arm she cut him free, with the other she forced him upward, fighting the pull of the sea as if it were trying to claim him. By the time they reached the surface, she was shaking, exhausted, and terrified she was already too late. She was not. Back on the boat, Aisha worked with desperate focus. She pumped his chest. She breathed life into his lungs. Once. Twice. Again. The fourth time, he coughed violently and water spilled from his mouth. Someone shouted with relief. Someone else cried. Aisha did neither. She only kept working until the danger finally passed and the faint rhythm of his heart stayed steady beneath her hands. She did not know his name. She did not know who he was. She only knew she had pulled him back from death. The world found out the next morning. His name was Zain Malik. 24 years old. Only son of billionaire shipping magnate Haris Malik. The headlines called it a miracle. The news called it destiny. And the internet called Aisha a hero. She was uncomfortable with all of it. Zain was transferred to a private hospital the same day. Aisha expected never to see him again. People like him lived in guarded towers far above the small clinic where she worked, far above the narrow streets where she rented a single room and sent half her salary to help her widowed mother. But 2 days later, a sleek black car pulled up outside the clinic. A man in a perfect suit walked in and asked for Nurse Aisha Khan. She thought something had happened to her patient. In a way, it had. Zain insisted on seeing the woman who saved his life. Their first meeting was awkward. He looked too thin against the white hospital sheets, still pale, still weak. But his eyes were alive, alert, searching. "I don't remember much," he told her. "Just darkness. And then your voice. You were telling me not to give up." Aisha laughed quietly, embarrassed. She told him nurses said things like that to everyone. He smiled. Then he looked serious again. "My family owes you everything." That was when she met the Malik world. Private guards. Private doctors. Private hallways. Everything polished, silent, controlled. His father thanked her with stiff formality and promised to reward her. Aisha politely refused money. She asked only that Zain complete his physical therapy and not rush recovery. His fiancée was there too. Her name was Samira Qureshi. Beautiful. Elegant. Always dressed like a magazine cover. She sat close to Zain, her hand wrapped possessively around his. She thanked Aisha with perfect manners and perfect eyes that never quite warmed. At first, Aisha told herself she imagined the tension. Over the weeks that followed, Zain insisted Aisha oversee his rehabilitation. He trusted her. He relaxed around her. They talked about ordinary things. Her childhood near the coast. His childhood inside wealth that felt more like a golden cage than a blessing. Their friendship grew quietly. And that was when things began to feel wrong. Aisha noticed how Samira's affection vanished whenever Zain grew weak or afraid. How she grew impatient during his pain. How she scrolled through her phone when he struggled through physical therapy. How she spoke endlessly about the engagement announcement, the wedding planners, the press. One afternoon, Aisha entered Zain's room and found him staring at the wall, tears silently sliding down his face. She asked what was wrong. He hesitated. Then he whispered, "She told me the accident ruined everything. That I was becoming a burden." Aisha felt something crack in her chest. From that moment on, she began to watch more closely. The truth did not reveal itself all at once. It unraveled in fragments. A hushed argument between Samira and a stranger in the hallway. A phone call that ended too abruptly when Aisha approached. A whispered name repeated with fear rather than love. Then came the night that changed everything. Zain suffered a dangerous complication. His oxygen dropped suddenly. Alarms blared. Doctors rushed in. Aisha worked through the chaos, stabilizing him. After he was safe, she went searching for his fiancée. She found Samira outside, arguing with a man whose face hardened when he saw Aisha. Later that night, a security officer quietly pulled Aisha aside. He asked what she knew about the crash. She said only what everyone knew. A storm. An accident. He hesitated. Then he told her the truth. The yacht had been sabotaged. The engine bolts were intentionally loosened. Someone wanted the accident to happen. Aisha's blood turned to ice. The next day, she returned to Zain's room and confronted Samira without naming the accusation. She spoke of miracles. Of second chances. Of how some people survived for a reason. Samira smiled tightly. And then she said something she did not realize exposed her. "Next time," she said softly, "we will make sure he does not come back." The words were light. Casual. Terrifying. Aisha recorded everything after that. Conversations. Messages accidentally overheard. A sudden banking transaction tied to offshore accounts. A secret lover who stood to gain millions if Zain died before the wedding. The betrayal was deeper than greed. Samira had never loved Zain. She loved his future. The confrontation came at sunset. Zain was strong enough now to stand. Aisha brought the evidence to his father. The police came quietly. Samira screamed when they arrested her. She swore Zain had ruined her life. She swore she deserved the wealth for everything she had endured. Zain did not speak. He only watched the woman he planned to marry disappear in handcuffs. In the days that followed, the world learned the truth. The fiancé who plotted murder. The nurse who uncovered it. The son who survived both the sea and betrayal. Zain fell into darkness afterward. Healing from the body was easier than healing from the heart. He withdrew. He stopped smiling. Only Aisha remained a constant. She never demanded anything from him. She simply stayed. Weeks passed. Healing came slowly. One evening, as the sun bled gold across the ocean that once almost claimed him, Zain rolled his wheelchair beside Aisha on the hospital balcony. "You saved me twice," he said. "Once from the sea. Once from the woman who would have ended me." Aisha looked away, her eyes burning. "I only did my job." "No," he said softly. "You chose to care when everyone else chose comfort." Months later, Zain walked again. Not perfectly. But proudly. He returned to life changed. Not as the careless billionaire's son. But as a man who had seen how fragile breath could be. He funded emergency clinics in coastal villages. He improved maritime safety laws. And quietly, without publicity, he paid for Aisha's medical education. When she graduated as a doctor, he was there in the front row. They stood together afterward in silence, not as billionaire and nurse, but as two survivors of different storms. Their love did not begin with fireworks. It began with trust. And that was stronger than anything the storm had ever tried to destroy. Sometimes the sea takes. Sometimes it gives back. And sometimes, it returns a life only so that it can be lived greater than ever before.